Foyles Storybox podcast.
This edition was recorded in the children's department of Foyles flagship store, so you may hear people browsing the books in the background. Enjoy the podcast. Hello everybody and welcome along to episode 2 of the Storybox podcast.
My name is Jasmine.
And I'm Callum.
And we're lucky enough to be picking up where Hamish and Maggie left off last week.
Bringing you this week's news, reports and interviews from the Children's Book Festival.
We've got lots to tell you.
So let's get cracking. Good morning. You're through to Callum and Jasmine from the Children's Podcast Department.
How may we help you?
Oh, hello, Callum and Jasmine. I was just wondering if you had any tickets for Harry Potter.
No, I'm afraid that Harry Potter extravaganza happened last week.
Is there anything else we can help you with?
Oh, that's a shame. Yes, do you know the Beatrix Potters?
Yes.
Well, I was wondering if you had any tickets to her birthday party.
You're a little bit late for that. We celebrated Beatrix Potter's 150th birthday a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, no tickets for that either. Well, what about Matilda? I really want to see her and her strange orange carrot.
You wanted to see Matilda? She's been and gone as well.
So sorry we couldn't help you with any of these inquiries, but what I can do for you is throw in some printmaking tips from Leigh Hodgkinson, and I may be able to put you through to Vivian Schwarz later on in the show.
But only maybe.
Goodbye!
You're listening to the Storybox podcast, and this is Mrs. Phelps of Matilda the Musical playing at Cambridge Theatre. Enjoy and read a book.
Callum, where is your favourite place to read?
I quite like reading on my bed.
Cool, me too.
We interviewed author and illustrator Leigh Hodgkinson to find out a little bit more about her,
including what she likes and maybe what she doesn't like as well.
Make sure you're comfortable before we start.
It's got patterns, paint and shape.
She told us about a story. She drew some pictures of the animals and the boy reading the book.
I've got some sort of tiny book bag, and I've been painting around the sides of the shape of a chair, and then I peeled the chair off, and then I have the shape of a chair, so I did the outline, and then I drew a 3D hand on it.
We finished now, and my bag looks so nice. It looks excellent to me. It's covered with blue stripes, brownish and greenish colours, and it looks nice with some sparkling colours on it and some dots and everything. So I think this lesson today was an excellent lesson.
Hi, I'm Neil Thorne, and today I'll be interviewing Leigh Hodgkinson. Firstly, can you introduce yourself and tell everybody listening what we're doing today?
Hello, well, my name's Leigh Hodgkinson, and I write and illustrate children's picture books, and we're here today at the lovely Foyles bookshop in Charing Cross Road, and we've been reading a book about how you can read books anywhere. So it's all about a book about books, and we've been drawing big pictures with all the characters in, and we've been getting really, really messy, doing printing onto bags of our own chair patterns with characters reading books on their own chairs. So everybody's got really messy hands, so it's a success.
Are you sitting comfortably?
I'm not at the moment. I'm kind of standing awkwardly. One of my shoes is on slightly too tight, so after we finish this interview, I might undo the lace a little bit.
Okay, we can begin.
Oh.
Where's your most favourite place to read?
Now, probably my favourite place to read at the moment is on my little son's bed, and he's 3, so every evening we sit with I sit with him and my daughter, and we read stories, and it's very, very comfortable and it's very lovely. We all get to hug each other and cuddle while we're reading, so it's just loads of really good things happening all at once.
Very nice. Where's your favourite place to draw?
Well, my favourite place to draw is in a damp little wooden shed at the bottom of my garden, and it does smell a bit funny because it is damp, but it's nice and quiet and peaceful, and I get to look at squirrels out of the window when I can't draw something and watch the odd slug go up and down the window if it's rainy.
Sounds a bit like Roald Dahl. Can you list the 3 most important items you use when you're working?
The most important is probably, is it an item? My brain? Am I allowed to say that? Probably my brain, and also a piece of paper and a pen, because then anything can happen, really, and you can draw and do anything.
Still sounds a bit like Roald Dahl.
Oh dear.
Is there anything you dislike drawing?
This is why it's really good to write your own stories, because then you don't put anything in it that you really can't draw. So you'll notice about my books that there are never any bicycles in my books, and there are definitely never any cars, because I just can't draw them. I don't think it's possible to draw a car and make it look beautiful.
Starting to not sound like Roald Dahl. Is it strange seeing your books in different languages?
Oh, it's really lovely, and it makes me feel actually a lot cleverer than I am, because it's like I've written this book in all different languages. But actually, sometimes I feel a bit jealous of my books, because they get to go around the world and see really interesting places, and I just get to sit in a damp wooden shed in the bottom of my garden.
Starting to sound like Roald Dahl again. Have you got any top tips for drawing?
Don't be frightened of making a mistake, because sometimes when you make a mistake, that can actually turn out to be the best thing that you've ever done, because it'll make you work in a different way that you would never have worked in before. So actually just enjoy drawing and exploring and playing. Just see what you can do. It's an adventure, drawing, and it should be enjoyed. So enjoy it. That's the main thing, I think.
Thank you, Leigh.
Thank you very much. A very good interviewer.
That's all from here, and let's go back to the studio.
The Foyles Storybox Podcast. Did you listen to last week's podcast?
We both did, but if you didn't get the chance, just head over to foyles.co.uk/Storybox and click on the podcast button.
There, you will be able to hear all about Bugs, Hide and Seek, and Matilda's Librarian in episode 1.
But right now, we're still here in episode 2, looking at the events in the second week of the Storybox Festival.
This episode is hosted by me, Jasmine,
And me, Callum.
Coming up, we have an exclusive phone interview with illustrator Vivian Schwarz.
So definitely stay listening for that. But right now, it's time to go on a tour around this humongous store.
Enjoy! Right now we're at the checkout if you want to buy a book, but we're not buying any books, we're asking to go on a tour. So we've found our person that's going to take us around a tour, and we're just going to have a look around all the bookshelves and see if there's any good place to read.
Please, could you introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Marion. I work in promotions for the shop in Charing Cross Road, and I have worked in the fiction department in the past, so this is probably my favourite floor, although I'm not supposed to have favourites. A good place to read, if you want to follow me. Okay, so we've just come into the sci-fi and fantasy section and the crime section at the end of the first floor here, and there's a couple of chairs just here on the balcony looking over the children's department, and a lot of customers like to sit there and have a read. Some of our staff on their lunch breaks as well.
Right now we're looking at where we were just now, so we've just walked up exactly a level because we can look over the balcony, and there's where we began. Oh, it looks quite cosy actually. I'd like to read it.
Because there's benches looking over a balcony. We can see the kids section.
Is there any other good places to read?
I think there's a really good spot up on the 4th floor in the languages section. Shall we take the lift up?
Yeah, we're just about to take the lift up to the 4th floor.
Right now we are in the lift and we're just about to go up to level 4. The doors are like made of glass, so we can see where all the floors as we go past them.
Yeah, it's cool.
We're just in the carpeted area and it looks quite cosy already. It's a bit busier than the first floor.
You can hear the cafe, so it's quite noisy.
So we're just heading into the Spanish department here. And there's a lovely little nook here by the children's Spanish graphic novels and kids' books, where lots of people like to read, and there's some in the French department just here as well.
It looks nice and cosy because there's carpets and benches, and it looks really nice to read, and it's a nice place.
I'd probably say I like the first place a bit more, but I like this one a lot as well.
It's a teensy bit warmer up here, which is a bit more cosy, so I like that as well.
Do you have a third reading spot?
There's a really cool spot in the medical department where we keep all our surgeons' scrubs and our skeletons and our model brains. So if you want to follow me.
This place sounds really cool and a bit gruesome as well, because there's like skeletons and brains, but it sounds interesting actually.
I like this spot because it's tucked right down the back of the 3rd floor. It's full of medical equipment. It's the area where doctors and nurses go to get their textbooks, and anyone who wants to learn more about medicine, especially students. Lots of cool models and implements everywhere, and it's quite quiet on this floor as well, so you can kind of tuck yourself away.
Yeah, it's quite quiet. Yeah, it's a good place to read because it's nice and silent rather than loads of bustling noises. It's quite hard to concentrate on your book, so yeah, it's a good place to read. Thank you for giving us a tour around Foyles Book Studios. It's a humongous store.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
The Foyles Storybox Podcast! That was great. There are definitely lots of fantastic places to read in the Foyles flagship store.
Leigh Hodgkinson would be very pleased.
Anyway, on with the podcast.
We've just got time for one more feature, or in this case, phone call.
Let's give illustrator Vivian Schwarz a call to find out what she's doing at Storybox and all about her work.
And how to draw a cat.
Hello.
Hello. I'm Jasmine.
Hi, Jasmine.
And I'm Callum.
Oh, hi, Callum.
Please, can you introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello, I'm Viv Schwarz. I make children's books and I write and I illustrate them. Hello.
We read that you design games and workshops for your festivals around the world. Can you tell us your favourite ever game you made?
Oh, my favourite game I made is the treasure maze. It's a big cardboard maze, like 200 meters of cardboard, and I spend at least 4 hours, but maybe more like a day, building it into a maze with lots of little holes and caves, and people pretend that it's the sea, and it kind of you can push it about and it moves like water, and you look for gold. So I throw in handfuls of toy gold coins, and then people dive in and try to find as many as they can. It goes all day. It's really fun. You can play as long as you want. You can't quite see what's going on from the outside. You just see that it just moves like the sea. It's just waves, and every so often somebody jumps up and goes, it's been eaten, and throws a lot of gold. And then every so often somebody comes like rolling out of the front with arms full of gold and goes, ha!
Can you describe the best way to draw a cat?
I don't know the best way to draw a cat, but a really easy way to draw a cat, how I often do it, is you draw, like what the mask that Batman has, where it's like 2 ears?
Yeah.
And then kind of holes for the eyes. If you draw that, and then you imagine that Batman is in a sack. Like, imagine that Batman is in a sack and it's just his head poking out. So if you draw that, and then you just put arms and legs on it, and then you've got a cat.
Henry Finch is made up of thumbprints and a fountain pen. What is your favourite style of drawing?
I don't know. I think there's so many different styles of drawing, and it's really good to change them up sometimes. It's fingerprints, by the way. People always say it's thumbprints. Most of them are fingers and a few thumbs. Henry is actually always a fingerprint. He's one of my fingers. I really like going out just with a fountain pen and a little watercolor box and then drawing things quite loosely. That's nice when I just work by myself. I think it's nice to have something where you got materials that you can kind of, like things that really make a mess, like anything, like ink. You don't want to pour it on a carpet, it'd be really annoying. Or like anything that makes a big mark that you can really see. It's something really strong. That's all really nice to work with.
Yeah.
So I think anything that you can make where you get something that could really make a mess, and then instead you make a drawing. That's my favourite kind of drawing.
Yeah.
We get really dirty hands.
Can you tell everybody listening about your workshop in Birmingham?
Oh, yes. There will be all sorts of people, and we'll be drawing big crocodiles and finches and maybe other animals. And I thought it would be nicest if we can all draw together. What I'm doing today is I'm going to go out to the paint shop, and I'm going to get some green paint, and I'm going to get some wallpaper, and I'll make big green shapes on the wallpaper. And I'm going to put them in my suitcase and take them to Birmingham and give people nice materials to turn them into, to turn the shapes into big crocodiles and finches, or you can turn them into anything else you want. And I think I'll also be reading books. See, it'll be informal, but it'll be fun. I'm really looking forward to meeting people and making something. It'll be great.
Thank you, Vivian.
Thank you too.
We better get back into the studio.
Yes, do that. have lots of fun. Okay, bye.
And that's about it from us.
This has been the Storybox podcast episode number 2, hosted by me, Jasmine.
And me, Callum.
There are still loads of exciting events taking place over the next week across all the Foyles stores.
So make sure to book your tickets ASAP.
In the next and final episode, we will be catching up with author David Solomons,
Learning how to write and broadcast a live radio play.
and hopefully meeting some witches.
Head over to foyles.co.uk/storybox for details on all the events across the stores in London, Birmingham and Bristol.
And of course, grab your tickets.
You have been listening to the Storybox podcast hosted by us,
Callum and Jasmine.
Don't forget to check out the final episode over on the SoundCloud next week.
Goodbye.
I Am Henry Finch by Alexis Deacon, illustrated by Vivian Schwarz.
The Finches lived in a great flock. They made such a racket all day long. You could not hear yourself think.
Every morning they said, good morning, they said.